Hi everyone, today I'm going to be comparing the Shark Flexstyle and the Dyson Airwrap. I actually did half my hair with the Shark and half my hair with the Dyson. I'm going to go over all the pros and cons so you guys can decide which one will be better for you. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. I provide a lot of hair tutorials, reviews, so if you guys want all that good stuff, go ahead and click that button and let's get started. First things first, let's start off with the price. Shark Flexstyle is $270 before tax and Dyson Airwrap is $600 before tax. So for the price alone, Shark Flexstyle definitely gets a point because we don't want to be spending that much money on a hot tool, and if this is going to be that much more money, then I would expect it to perform triple times better than this one. So I guess we shall see throughout the tutorial what we think and if it really does perform that much better to justify that price. So I wanted to touch on the heaviness of the tools. Shark is heavier than the Dyson. I don't think it's super heavy where I feel tired at the end of my style, but it is heavier, so that's something to think about, and that is something that I'm gonna have to give Dyson a point on, is for being more lightweight and easier on your hand. Next, we're gonna talk about the pre-styling attachments. Dyson has two, one from the old version, one from the new version, and Shark has this one, so let me show you guys how it works. One feature that I love about Shark that Dyson does not have is this feature where you could turn it like this. So as you can see, you can't do that with a Dyson. So you can use this to rough dry your hair versus a Dyson, you can't use that. You're gonna have to use the attachment instead. But what's cool is that it turns into a blow dryer and you can add the diffuser so you can have more direct airflow, whether you wanna use a round brush and use it as a regular blow dryer, whether you wanna rough dry your hair, you can do that with this. So for the Dyson, you can use this attachment, which is the one from the old version, to rough dry. So you can rough dry your hair like this. But what I don't like about it, it doesn't have that direct airflow. It does kind of, but not as direct as this. I do feel like the hair does tend to fly around a little bit more. Maybe not gonna help with making it as smooth if you wanna use a round brush because the airflow is not as direct as this. So the new version, if you guys have the new version, it's also very similar. I do think the airflow is a little more direct with this version, but I do just prefer this attachment. But what Dyson has that Shark doesn't have is the smoothing attachment. It's to help smooth those flyaways. But when it comes to these pre-styling attachments, Shark takes a point for that because it is versatile. You can use it as a blow dryer, you can rough dry, and this one doesn't really give you that option. So I'm gonna rough dry my hair 90% on both sides. I'm gonna start with Shark and I'm gonna put a timer to see how long it takes to get it to about 90% dry, and then I'm gonna compare it with Dyson's. It is pretty dry and it is 49 seconds. And I will say, Shark dries your hair super fast. Even compared to my regular blow dryers, I could just tell that this gets it dry super quick, and I really love that about Shark. So now let's see Dyson's. Let's try with this attachment. It should be the same on how they rough dry your hair between these two. Okay, both sides are about 90% dry, and this was the final time, 1 minute and 18 seconds for Dyson. And I definitely felt that this was going to take me a lot longer to rough dry my hair. I really don't like that it doesn't have that direct airflow how Shark has it. It just seems to kind of just make my hair more frizzy because it's just flying everywhere. I don't know if this is a pro or con. It does feel healthier for your hair. It doesn't feel like it gets as hot as it does with Shark. But it also could be a con because sometimes I just want it a little hotter and it doesn't seem like the highest heat is really even that high. The thing about Shark is it could get hot, but you can lessen the heat. So you also have the option to lessen the heat and make it more healthier for your hair and less damaging as well. So this doesn't give you an option of going hotter. It just kind of keeps it at a healthy level. This one could get hotter, but you can also make it less to make it healthier for your hair, if that makes sense. So overall, the attachments, I'm gonna give it to Shark because I think that this setup is amazing. The fact that it's like a 2-in-1. We'll talk about the smoothing attachment a little later, but as the rough dry, it really does nothing for me. Now let's talk about the smoothing attachments. from Dyson and Shark. Dyson has two options. One is a little more firm, one's a little more flexible. Shark only has this option for a smoothing brush. However, I do feel like these are very similar. Honestly, I'm not a fan of these two. I don't feel like they get it really nice and smooth. I think it's good to kind of smooth it out, but you're not gonna get a super sleek blowout with this. It's just kind of to brush through your hair while it's drying. And this, the bristles that it has these like boar bristles along with these other bristles. It does make it really smooth and shiny. I can definitely get a much more smoother look with this one. The only con I will say is that these bristles, I've seen some of them fall out. I don't know how sturdy these bristles are, especially if you have curly coarse hair. But for me, that I've been using it so far, I have seen some little pieces fall out, but not to the fact that I feel like it's all just gonna fall out and it's gonna be left with two teeth. I think it's still good. That's just my only concern. I have to use it a lot more times to see what's gonna happen. But so far, I've really been enjoying this one versus these. I just don't even use these, to be honest. Let me show you guys side by side. So this, what I find is that it has better tension on the hair, so I could really help get those roots smooth, and it's flexible on your hair versus these are a little more firm. It's kind of hard to be on the scalp, and the tension is just not as good as how it is with Shark, so I can't really get that smooth look. But let me show you guys. So as you can see how they're bending, I think they're meant to be flexible. I think that they wanted to be flexible, but it just worries me a little bit that they're not that sturdy, the bristles. But it is getting my hair nice and smooth. It dried my hair super fast and I was able to get some of the roots, and I do really like this smoothing brush. Okay, gonna go in with the Dyson smoothing brush. Okay, so I did both sides. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I do feel like this side is more shiny. I believe these bristles just create more of a shine in your hair. This will still somewhat get rid of that frizz and smooth out some of your hair. I just don't feel like you could get it as sleek as using something like this. So for this attachment, I'm gonna have to give it to Shark. Okay, so now let's talk the blow dry round brush. This is Dyson's, this is Shark's. As you can see, there is a big difference between the two. One is a lot bigger, one is a lot smaller. They give different results, so I guess depending on the results you want to see, you can decide which one. I am gonna have to go with Dyson on this one because this one is so big. It kind of, very similar to the, as you can see, it's kind of the same except it just has that round thing throughout. It is so big that you can smooth your hair, but the whole point of these round brushes is to get that volume and that curl in your hair. So this one definitely helps smooth, but you don't get as good of a curl as you would with something smaller, because the smaller the barrel, the tighter the curl is. This one is so big that you would just get more of a bend in your hair. So if you like to have a little bit of body with a very soft movement, then this one will be great for you. But if you like to have more of a curl, then this one will be much better for you. If they could make a smaller version of this, this would be amazing. But I do get a curl with the Dyson Airwrap one. The only thing I will say is that this one, I don't feel like it smooths as good. I do feel like I have a little bit more frizz. It's not as smooth, but I get that volume and I get that curl. So as you can see, it does add a little bit of body lift up here, and the ends have a little bend. So as I mentioned earlier, if you like just body in your hair, a little bit of volume with some bends at the end, then this will be the one for you. But yeah, if they came out with a smaller version of this, I think it would be a lot better. But the pro to this is that it is big. You can get a lot of hair at once. Let's try the Dyson Airwrap. As you can see, I have that curl. So between these two, I'm gonna have to go with the Dyson. Because of how much smaller the round brush is, it's gonna create more of a curl, give more movement, and that's what I love in my blowouts. So for me personally, I'm gonna have to go with Dyson on this one. Okay, next I wanna try the smoothing attachment from Dyson. As you can see, I feel like this side is not as smooth as this side, so let me see how this attachment works. Okay, I don't know if you could see, but that actually really did make it smooth and help with some of the flyaways and shiny. Wow, really impressed with what it just did. I think it's a great finisher if you do a sleek blowout, straighten your hair. You can use this attachment to help with the flyaways, make it overall nice and shiny. And I really enjoyed that attachment. So point for Dyson for having that attachment. Next, let's talk barrels. As you can see the length, Dyson does have a longer length barrel than Shark. This is the new version. The old version of Dyson came with these really short ones. However, you can always buy the longer ones, and the new one comes with the longer one automatically. So just for length alone, I'm gonna have to go with Dyson because the longer the better. My hair is pretty long and I don't feel like it slips out of this one either. So I don't really have a problem with the standard size of Shark's. So Shark comes with 2 barrels, one for your right side, one for your left side. Dyson used to have that in their old version, but their new version has 1 barrel that, as you can see here, you can just turn to see which direction you want it to go, and you don't have to keep switching out the barrels. I'm gonna say that this is a lot better because having to change the barrels was very annoying, especially when the barrels are hot. It like burns your hands, and I don't like to do one full side of my head and then the other side after. I like to do them both at the same time. I do this one and then I do this side, then I go to this side, this side. So having one barrel that could switch to both sides easily is a game changer. The new Dyson will get a point for that because of you could change it with just doing one click, and this one you're gonna have to take it out, put it back in. So this is kind of like the old versions of the Dyson. So when it comes to sizes, not talking about length but more about the width of the barrel, Dyson has variety. This is a 1.2 inch, this is a 1.6 inch. I believe they also have a 1 inch. They have like smaller, skinnier ones as well. Right now, Shark only has this one. So this one is a pretty standard size. I think it could go for any hair type. I am super happy with this size, but I think it's always better to have multiple of things. So if you can have multiple sizes for different looks, I think that's great. So the fact that Dyson does have multiple sizes right now, I'm gonna give another point to Dyson for that. I think Shark will eventually come out with that, but as of right now, they don't have that. They just have this standard size. It gives a beautiful curl. So I'm gonna compare them side by side. The only problem is, as you can see, is this one is wider, a little bit wider than this one, and this one is skinnier than this one. So automatically the wider barrels are going to give you looser curls than the smaller barrels. So I wish I could give you a true side by side with them being the same size so you can see exactly how it looks and if one falls faster than the other, but unfortunately they don't have the same exact size on the Shark versus the Dyson. So I'm going to compare these two. These are similar in size, but just know in your head that Dyson's is going to be looser just because this one is a little smaller. This one's like super skinny, so I don't want to do that one. I feel like these are a better comparison. So just keep that in mind that it is going to look looser, so don't be like, oh, well, Dyson didn't work as good because it's looser. It is going to be looser because the barrel size is wider. And let me show you guys real time on how fast I could get a curl with the Shark and how great it works. So I'm not going to fast forward. I'm just going to show you guys real time. So do you guys see how quick that was and how fast I got this curl? It's such a pretty curl. I really am enjoying this flex style. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of this half and I'm gonna fast forward. Okay, so now we're on this side. I'm gonna show you guys how one curl is real time with the Airwrap. Okay, so this also was super quick as well. I will say that it doesn't have as strong of an airflow as Shark, as I mentioned earlier. So with that, I feel like even though it's longer, it kind of slips out a little bit more on this one. For some reason, it doesn't wrap it as quick and easy as Shark's because of the airflow not being as strong. The ends kind of tend to come out a little bit when it's wrapped. Let me see if I could show you guys what I mean. So you see how these ends are flying out? You kind of have to go like this and press it down. and it's like slipping out from the top. You see how my ends are still coming out? So I feel like because of that airflow not being as strong, it just doesn't wrap it as good. Shark gets the hair and it fully wraps it around the barrel, and it's just much easier and user-friendly because this doesn't have that super strong airflow. You're kind of like pushing it, you kind of just keep playing with your hair to get it to stick to the barrel. So even though it's longer, I don't know if necessarily it's even better because that airflow is not really sticking it on as good as this one. Okay, let me do the rest of my hair and then we'll see the overall end result. Okay, so I shook out both sides, both very similar. As I mentioned, this side will probably be a little tighter because the barrel was a little bit skinnier. But super pretty results on both ends. However, a Dyson is double the amount of Shark. So for the results to be super similar, is it worth it? What do you guys think? Let me go over all the pros and cons of everything I just talked about so we can have it all right here, right now. So price point, Shark gets the point for that. Pre-styling attachment, Shark also gets a point because it's the 2-in-1. You can make it a blow dryer. This one, your hair is just kind of going everywhere. When it comes to the smoothing brush, I'm gonna give a point to Shark. I feel like you could get it more smooth with this. I like the tension and it adds more shine to my hair. When it comes to the blow dry round brush, this one is definitely gonna have to go to Dyson. The smaller barrel gives a more of a curl. So now the barrels, so many different pros and cons when it comes to the barrels. Dyson's gonna get a point for the new version that allows you to just with one click be able to change the direction of the curl, versus Shark you have to take out the whole attachment, add a whole different attachment. Length and sizes, I'm gonna give Dyson a point because it comes with variety, so it has longer lengths and also different widths of barrels. So this one just comes with one standard size as of right now. I feel like this is a great standard size, and hopefully they come out with more, which I think they will. Dyson will get a point for this smoothing attachment. Shark doesn't have anything similar. I really love this attachment. So when it comes to airflow, I'm gonna give it to Shark. It helps my hair wrap around the barrel much faster, easier. This one is a little bit more of a struggle, especially if you're new to it. Shark is gonna be much easier for you because it's just gonna automatically do it for you and it doesn't slip off the barrel. So yeah, airflow, Shark wins by a landslide. Another thing is heat. The Shark has more of a range of how hot it could go and how cool it could go, versus this one, it can't get that hot. So I'm not gonna give it a point. I'm gonna give this a point for a higher range. Dyson gets a point for how light the tool is. Shark is heavier than the Dyson, so ergonomically I think the Dyson is better for your wrist. And when I use the Shark, it does last. For those wondering, I went to Disneyland and my hair was sweating, and it was during the heat wave. So if you guys remember how hot it was, I threw it up in a bun, and literally the next 2 days it still looked good. So my curls definitely do last with Shark, if you guys are wondering. With Dyson, it does last sometimes. I feel like it kind of depends if I prep my hair. I don't know, it just depends on the day. It's a hit or miss. Sometimes it lasts the whole week. Sometimes it ends up falling a little bit faster. But if I go down to the skinnier barrel size, it does last. So I'm just gonna say they both last me if I'm using the smaller barrel size. Honestly, like I said, if I'm gonna be paying double the amount of money, I need my hair to look so much better if I'm gonna be doing that. So when it comes to overall look, Shark looks amazing. I think Dyson looks great too. I think they're both pretty equal in how they look. But that's the thing, why am I paying so much if the overall result is still the same and Shark lasts as well? So it's just kind of like you guys need to decide whether the little things with attachments are worth it. After going over everything, you know, there's pros and cons to each. So depending on what you and your hair type would use the most, you guys can decide probably which one will be better for you. I hope this video was useful to you guys. So let me know if it was. Make sure to follow me on Instagram where I have a lot more quick videos on there. I'm also on TikTok. And like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.